Hello dear children, I hope you all are well and utilizing your time in a productive way. Okay. Now let's get back to our today's lesson. Children, do you ever wonder about the future or think what might have been the best way to have done something? Today we are going to read a story about a king who had few important questions in his mind and wanted the answers from his subjects. The title of the story is Three Questions. The title itself gives the reader a hint that it is about thirst for knowledge, inquisitiveness. Three Questions is a short story by Russian author Leo Tolstoy, first published in 1885 as part of the collection What Men Live By and Other Tales. Leo Tolstoy was a Russian author best known for his novels War and Peace and Anna Karenina. He also authored short stories, essays, and plays. A man with great sympathy for the downtrodden and the poor, Tolstoy was a social reformer too. His ideas about non-violent resistance influenced social leaders like Mahatma Gandhi. The story begins with a king who yearns to know the answers for his three questions. The questions were, what is the right time to begin something? Which people should he listen to? What is the most important thing for him to do? He strongly believed that the answers of these questions would provide him the ultimate wisdom to become successful in any endeavor he would undertake. The king promised a great reward to the person who would enlighten him with these truths. Children, you must have read many stories where a king asks a question and proclaims a reward for the correct answer. But here the questions raised were more practical and relevant. Just like the king, we all must have wondered about the purpose of life and the things we need to prioritize in order to be happy and successful. Many wise men came to the king. In reply to the first question, some said that the king must strictly follow a timetable. Some said one should be attentive to all that was going on and do what was the most needed. Others said the king needed a council of wise men, and some advised the king must approach a magician to know about the future in order to decide the right time for any action. Regarding the most important person whom he should listen to, some said counselors, others said priests, some said doctors, and some said soldiers. In response to the third question about the most important thing for him to do, some said science, some said fighting, others said religious worship. The king was not satisfied with the answers. So he decided to consult a hermit known for his wisdom. The hermit lived a solitary life in a wood, and he received only common people. The king left behind his horse, bodyguards, and met the hermit in the disguise of an ordinary man. Now the question that comes to our mind is, why did the king go to the hermit to seek his answers? The king must have realized that his courtiers and all wise men did not delve deep into the matter and answered the questions superficially in order to get reward or favor of the king. He listened to the voice of his conscience and ventured into the wood, leaving his riches, luxuries, and all pleasures behind, which sometimes forbid us to see the important things in life. The king saw the hermit digging the ground in front of his hut. He didn't give much attention to the king. The king sought the answers to his questions from the hermit. The hermit was only concerned about his work and ignored the king and his questions entirely. The king offered to help him dig the ground, since the hermit looked exhausted. After a few moments, the king repeated his questions. This time also the hermit didn't reply. The king continued digging. The sun was about to set. For the third time, the king asked the questions. Suddenly, they saw a bearded man coming out of the bushes with a severe wound in his stomach. The king cleaned and bandaged the wound. The king and the hermit carried the wounded man inside the hut and laid him on the bed. The king had to extend his stay. He went to sleep as he was exhausted with the day's work. When he awoke in the morning, he saw the bearded man gazing intently at him. "Forgive me," said the man in a feeble voice. The king said that he did not know him and had nothing to forgive him. The man revealed that he was the king's enemy, who came there to take revenge upon him, because the king executed his brother and seized his property. The man planned to hit the king when he was alone. He resolved to kill him on his way back. When the king had not returned, he came out of his hideout to find the king. The king's bodyguards recognized him and wounded him. The man whom he considered to be his greatest enemy and whom he wanted to kill had saved his life. The man's feelings of hatred and enmity towards the king had turned into respect and gratitude. He promised to serve the king for the rest of his life, and he would ask his sons also to do the same. The king was very glad to have made peace with his enemy and to have gained him for a friend. So here we have seen the king and the bearded man had forgotten their enmity towards each other and opened a new chapter in their life. We here learn the value of forgiveness. When you forgive, you don't change the past, but you do change the future. So, we must forgive, forget, and move on. Having taken leave of the wounded man, the king again approached the hermit, who was at that moment sowing seeds, seeking the answers of his questions. The hermit said that he had already been answered. If the king would not have pitied the hermit's condition the day before, then the man would have attacked him on his way back, and he might have lost his life. So the most important time was when he was digging the bed, and the hermit was the most important man. To do him good was his most important business. Later on, when the wounded man came running to them, the most important time was when he was attending to him. For if he had not bound up his wound, he would have died without having made peace with him. So he was the most important man, and what he had done for him was his most important business. The hermit further said that the most important time is now, which means that all our concern should be centered around present. This is the only time over which we have got control, because it develops according to our action at the moment. No matter how much we stress over the past or future, nothing can be done about them. So, we must embrace the present and be aware of the necessities around us. The most important person is he with whom we are. For no man knows whether he will ever have dealings with anyone else. And the most important affair is to be cordial and charitable towards that person, which is the essence of our life. The fulfillment of life lies in serving others, forgetting our selfish interest. This brings to us heavenly peace and satisfaction. No act is as great as the act of kindness and compassion. If everyone follows these 3 golden rules, then not only he will live an exemplary life, but also will be able to contribute in creating a peaceful and harmonious society. Children, you have seen that the hermit, rather than supplying the king with verbal answers to his questions, guides him to arrive at the answers himself, by encouraging him to engage actively in the task at hand, which is more effective because actions speak louder than words. The king was looking outside for his answers, while the hermit told him that the answers were within him. His actions towards the hermit and the bearded man at the right moment showed that the king was aware of his surroundings. His human quality and his sense of duty are reflected in his action. So, there is no need to consult with others when it comes in doing the right thing, and one can arrive at it by applying his wisdom and knowledge. So, children, I wind up here. This much about the story. I hope you have understood. Thank you so much.